Hello students, welcome to Drishti IAS. My name is Saloni Nandkyoliar, and in this session we are going to talk about the heavy metal contamination situation in Delhi's groundwater, because as per the latest annual report of the Central Groundwater Board, Delhi's groundwater has been found to be the most contaminated, one of the most contaminated in the country. Delhi's groundwater is severely leached with heavy metals. In fact, we have crossed the BIS permissible limit for a lot of these heavy metals, and that is why Delhi's groundwater is becoming unsafe for drinking purposes day by day. And let alone drinking purposes, Delhi's groundwater is becoming unfit even for agriculture, for irrigation uses and industrial uses also in many areas, simply because of the heavy metal contamination that is found in Delhi's groundwater. And who is the most at risk over here? So unfortunately, the people who rely directly on borewells, on hand pumps, they are the most at risk, because they are drinking untreated water. They are drinking water from old contaminated aquifers. These bore wells, they run deep into the ground, and they are drinking water, such people, they are drinking water from multiple levels of contamination. That is why these people are the most at risk. So today we are going to look at the different heavy metals that are found in Delhi's groundwater and what are some potential causes behind this increase. So the reason that the heavy metals are increasing in Delhi's groundwater, there are two types of reasons for that. First is the geogenic causes. These are the natural causes. And then we have the anthropogenic causes, which are the man-made causes. Let's look at the different heavy metals that we see in Delhi's groundwater. The first one here is lead. Delhi's groundwater has been found to be heavily contaminated by lead. In fact, 9% of the samples that were surveyed had huge levels of lead contamination. And what happens when there is a lot of lead in groundwater or a lot of lead in water? This will lead to cognitive disabilities. Significant presence of lead leads to cognitive disabilities, particularly in children. It can lead to neurological disorders. It can also lead to an increase in BP, and it can also cause a stress on kidneys. But the most significant challenge over here, or the most alarming problem with lead, is that this is also a potential carcinogen. It is carcinogenic in nature, which means that it has the potential of causing cancer. That is how dangerous lead is, and lead has been found in a lot of places in Delhi's groundwater. Next, we have also found uranium. Uranium has also crossed the permissible limit in at least 13 to 15% of the samples surveyed for heavy metal contamination. In fact, Delhi's groundwater is so severely contaminated by uranium that it gives it the third place in the entire country. When it comes to uranium contamination, Delhi stands third in the entire country. That is how severe is the situation of uranium contamination in Delhi's groundwater. And uranium again has a lot of stress on the kidneys, and this also is carcinogenic in nature. So lead has been found, uranium has been found, a lot of other metals have also been found. In fact, nitrates have also been found in very high amounts. And when nitrates are found in huge amounts, this could lead to blue baby syndrome. This could lead to a lack of oxygen in the blood. So nitrates, unpermissible limits of nitrate is also not good. Then Delhi's water is also severely alkaline. and this again is not good for both human body and B, even for agriculture. Because when you have a lot of salts, dissolved salts in the body, kidneys will have to do extra filtering. So again, kidneys at risk here. And even in agriculture, it is only going to increase the salinity of the water, and in turn it is going to harm the soil health and the crop health. So this is not a good thing. In fact, for agriculture, one more thing is measured, that is the sodium adsorption ratio, which basically tells us the levels of sodium versus calcium and magnesium. So sodium is not good for crop health. Calcium and magnesium are good for crop health. And when the sodium adsorption ratio is high, this means that the sodium levels are high, sodium levels in the water are high, and this in turn is going to make the soil less fertile. So this again is not a desirable situation. Then fluorides are also high. Fluorides are also high in Delhi's groundwater, and this again is not good even for drinking purposes and also for agriculture and industrial purposes. And the reasons behind these, as I already told you, are both geogenic and anthropogenic, because when you look at the nitrate situation, nitrates are found heavily in fertilizers. And when this fertilized water, when this irrigated water is not treated appropriately, when the treatment does not happen, industrial sewage is not treated appropriately, then all these things are leached into the groundwater. They go deep into the aquifers, and in turn they turn our groundwater contaminated. So nitrates majorly is happening because of anthropogenic causes, but when you look at fluorides over here, this is happening majorly because of geogenic causes, because rocks, soils, they naturally contain fluoride. So over a period of time, this fluoride is going to seep into the water, and then the fluoride levels are going to increase in certain areas in the groundwater. So this is happening naturally. Of course, it is happening over a period of time, but these reasons are different. So there are both man-made reasons as well as natural reasons, because of which a lot of these heavy metals like your lead, uranium, nitrates, fluorides, even sodium adsorption. So all these things are increasing in Delhi's groundwater, and it is making the situation alarming for both drinking purposes and even agriculture and industrial purposes. So what needs to be done at the moment? Need of the hour is treatment. Treatment of the groundwater. Our water needs to be properly treated to free it from contamination. We're properly treated at all levels. All the sewage that we are talking about, the discharge that we are talking about, this needs to be treated appropriately so that this does not percolate deep into these aquifers and it does not contaminate them. So treatment needs to be done appropriately at all levels, and this discharge need to be treated appropriately. So this is what the government needs to do. Even if the government is doing this at the moment, it needs to accelerate the efforts a lot, because the situation is not good, it is concerning, and people especially who are directly drinking this water are at the most risk over here, and they do not have the luxury of affording treated water. So we need to take care of them as well. So that is the situation in Delhi at the moment. The groundwater is in a crisis because a lot of these heavy metals are found in very high limits in Delhi's groundwater. So now let us look at a practice question for prelims. Consider the following statements regarding groundwater contamination in Delhi as recently highlighted by the Central Groundwater Board. 1. Delhi's groundwater shows one of the highest uranium concentrations among Indian states. 2. High levels of electrical conductivity and alkalinity in Delhi's groundwater indicate high salinity. 3. People dependent on borewells are at higher risk because borewells directly tap untreated deeper aquifers. 4. Fluoride contamination in Delhi's groundwater is entirely due to industrial discharge. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A. 1 only, B. 2 and 3 only, C. 1, 2 and 3 only, or D. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Please attempt this question and provide your answers in the comment section. Thank you for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.